What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Cautiously Optimistic, the LOI Fan TV live show. It's episode 22, and I apologize for our lateness. It is all down to Mr. Griff LOI there on your right-hand side. He was fashionably late as always. But
I was just dealing with a few things, man. Very busy, man. Very, very busy, man. What can I say? Sorry about this.
Sure, that's it. Yeah, waiting on Griff live and too. Lovely stuff. Yeah. I don't think I was. But yeah, how are y'all keeping, lads? Soccer, how are you, lad?
Good, yeah, not too bad. How are yourselves?
Yeah, fabulous.
Sure, who'd listen?
Very good.
Griff is a little idiot. Yeah, absolutely. No question on that front.
Well said, man. Well said.
How are things, Craig? Hope you're keeping well, champ. But lads, I'm going to go straight into it on this one because I'm going to just pull up something here. Is it 22 months? Is that correct? Since our last Ireland match, and there we are at the game last week. What a great way to start the show.
Magic.
What was it like being back, boys?
Fabulous. It was a shame about Gaynor sitting beside me, but apart from that, it was pretty good. It was great.
You don't look very pleased in the photo. Look, you're just like,
I look fucking rolled off there. Like I look about 50. Like I don't know what the crack with me is.
Nagging in the jocks.
Nagging in the jocks. Let's say that's a nagging a whiskey.
Nagging a whiskey down the jocks. That's in that cup, that little styrofoam cup there, like in my hand.
That's a whiskey smile.
a lot of you. Don't mind.
I was look at the LOI TV in the background as well, the top right. Looks safe.
I didn't even notice that. Like,
that's free promotion. But yeah, we'll touch on Ireland actually to begin with. I didn't put that in the notes to start the show, but we'll just touch on it because I don't think we made a video out since the Serbia game. But this picture might sum up how we're feeling, lads.
You were singing a different tune before the game, weren't you?
No, I was playing devil's advocate last week.
Right, yeah, okay.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, it was a great night. To be fair, it was a typical Ireland. Like we scored like the 85th minute, like 86th minute as usual. Like, but it was class.
Ridiculous stat. I saw after the game, our last 5 home competitive goals have been after the 85th minute. I think you had Gibraltar, Georgia, Denmark, Azerbaijan, Serbia, like ridiculous. So if you're going to go to the Aviva, do not get the early dart home. Safe to say.
Yeah, because there is people that would leave the games early as well a lot of the time as well. So just goes to show you. Overall on the international break, lads, how are we feeling after it? Is it a case of the Serbia game kind of not bought Kenny some time, but it's kind of like with the FAI. I mean, this is but in terms of is that like it's a positive? It wasn't the best performance, to be honest. Like it wasn't. They kind of did dominate for the most part, but a lot of individual really good performances, and at times we knocked the ball around well and tried to make things happen. But overall, looking back at the international break, how are you feeling towards it? Start off with you, Soccer, and then go to Griff.
I wouldn't say it bottom time that result, because no matter what result we got the 3 results last week, they're only going to look at his contract in November after the World Cup qualifiers, I think he has his contract until June or July, so he's going to get the first round of Nations League games, to the best of my knowledge. So, but the plan has been all along they're going to sit down in November after the qualifying campaign and have a look at things then. The 3 games, probably mixed emotions. Like, Jesus Christ, that Portugal game was something else. Like, we covered all that before. If not one of the best Ireland performances I've seen in years and years. Like, we kind of should have went 2-0 up, and it was just 2 world-class goals that no other player in the world would score. Ronaldo, 2 headers in the last 5 minutes. We were hoping the same thing wouldn't happen last March with the Azerbaijan, as opposed to the Luxembourg game, but it kind of happened again in Azerbaijan. Kind of just that goal just before halftime killed us, and we just really, really struggled and just ended up just hitting the ball in long for the last half an hour, and it paid off. Got the draw, but it was a much, much better performance against Serbia. I know we kind of didn't have too much of the ball for long spells, but we defended, like, bar the corner, kind of disappointing to give away. We defended brilliantly. Gavin Bazunu man the match. Owen Bamidele, his first start for Ireland, and just like being there as a fan, just personally, like, I've been waiting a year and a half 22 months for a moment like that. Beside the two you and Gaynor, you can't put it into words. Like can't put it into words. And there's a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this is where Ireland is now. Oh, celebrating a draw." Like, but Serbia are a very, very good side. They're gonna push Portugal for that number one spot. You've Mitrovic, Tadic, like world class players. They are a step above Ireland, and you can see that for long spells. But with what we had, we did very, very well. Limited them to just kind of a few chances, and Gavin Bazunu got us out of jail once or twice, like no doubt. But I think, especially after Stevens Kenny luck, I think we all needed that bit of luck at the end. You can't argue that it wasn't coming because we were all over them for the last kind of 15-20 minutes. But like if you say it's all about results, it was a very good result. 1-1 against Serbia, you'll take that all day long.
Yeah, like Nick McCarthy gets that result, you're like, oh, great result. Like no matter who the manager is, like
exactly. There's a lot of people like slagging Stephen Kenny, like, oh, Stephen Kenny loves the performances, but you need to get the results. And once he does get a result, people are saying like,
oh, the performance.
No, it's about the performance.
Yeah.
But super result, and walking out of there, I didn't expect. People probably saw our video, people singing "There's only one Stephen Kenny." I didn't expect that, and to hear that was really, really nice. And definitely. Going with the lap around the pitch with the players. A few players were kind of heading in the dressing room, and Stephen Kenny was like, "No, go around," holding up Gavin Bazunu's hand like he won a boxing match. It was a positive end to this international window.
I agree with everything you said, Socko, bar maybe referring to Mitrovic as world class. What do you
I was going to say as well, Tadic as well. I mean, a bit of a weird one there. Like.
Which is seven goals in 3 qualifying games. 8 goals.
No, he's a good player. I don't know if he's world class. I think man Milinkovic-Savic is probably world class. He's I think he's really good.
Savic.
But Mitrovic is a championship player. I'm not joking, but you know what I mean.
But it's international level, like
you walk into our team, like
yeah, 100%.
What did you think of the whole break, Griff?
Pretty similar feelings for the Serbia game to Socko. I think it's mixed emotions really, because you go back to the Portugal game, we were so close to winning it, and you know that fella scores 2 goals. Like it's completely like if we came out with 4 points against Portugal and Serbia, it'd be Jesus Christ, unbelievable. But then you go like the Azerbaijan game, which is like not great. It's whenever we're on the back foot, we seem to do well. Like it's just the thing. Like whenever we're the underdogs, we play better than when we're expected to dominate possession and win games. It's the same. It's always been the same. Like the whole way through, really. Like so, it's not really surprising. I thought the Serbia game was very positive. It was probably one of the like individually. Like there was a few performances like Bazunu and Omaba Medile. I thought she didn't butcher that bad.
That's too bad. Yeah, I've heard worse.
Yeah, her worse.
Better than Brian Kerr.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, wouldn't be fucking hard. Like, but yeah, I think there's individual performances real good. Sure, even if he scored that, like when he had that shot from outside the box in the 89th minute. Oh my god, man! If that went in, Jesus Christ, the scenes. Like,
raise the roof.
Man, I wouldn't have came home the next morning.
I'll still be in the Aviva now. Yeah.
Oh, it was great though. It was just class. Well, to be back in the Aviva with the lads, like she said, 22 months ago was the last time. So good. Like when the goal went in, it was just fucking it's magic. Really, to be surrounded by your mates, like a moment like that, was just missed it so much. Like so, yeah. Overall positive. I mean, we were never going to qualify. I think even people were like, "Oh yeah, if we get a result against Portugal, like, we could still qualify." Realistically, I don't think we were ever going to qualify after you drop points. You've lost to Luxembourg, like that's going to catch up with you. But yeah, sure, we'll see.
I think we had to pull off the miracle win against Portugal to stand a chance after the Luxembourg game. You need to get one from there. So yeah, obviously it was over after that match. But yeah, so overall it was good. Like for the most part, I think it was, you kind of feel positive coming away from it, which I feel is a big thing as well. If the Azerbaijan game is last, you kind of feel negative leaving the camp, whereas the Serbia game is kind of leaving on a high in a way.
Yeah,
there was a lot of individuals that stood out. The two we've mentioned there, Adamida with two excellent performances. He kind of struggled a little bit against Serbia. I thought Josh Cullen was absolutely superb. I think he played all 3 games, if not almost that.
No, he's brilliant.
Connolly kind of struggled again. Parrott didn't really get on much. I thought Callum Robinson, it was brilliant to see him for a guy that was in his hotel room for like 10 days with COVID. Like, when he was isolating, to come on, put that ball in for the equaliser against Serbia, he was absolutely superb. Obviously, Coleman missed the Serbia game, but I thought Duffy and Egan were really, really good again. Darragh O'Shea, big miss now. I think I just saw his surgery there today. He looks to be out for kind of 5-6 months. A few players like that, but just the big thing for the next few weeks, I think we have Qatar next and Azerbaijan away in October. But the big thing now is just for our players to get regular game time at club level, because there's so many lads who just got a few preseason friendlies in, or like I said, kind of Harry Arter, who hadn't played football for the best part of like 6 months before that. And we'll come on to it later. We've already seen that. I think Ida came off the bench there for Norwich. Omobama Dele. Was it his first Premier League start? Was it?
Yeah.
He
played very well as well. He played very well. Like, he didn't put a foot wrong. Like, I saw Arsenal weren't doing much, but he didn't put a foot wrong.
I saw a highlights compilation of Bazunu for Portsmouth there yesterday or the day before. Absolutely top class. Like, so hopefully just a few fellas like that can just get regular game time, will put us in a much better position for October.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll move on to the LOI chat, because we'll get back onto kind of a bit of the Ireland stuff towards the end. Started off with Derry. They drew 2-2 with Finn Harps. Junior put Derry in front. Jordan Mustoe equalised before half-time. Ryan Rainey then put Finn Harps ahead before Joe Thompson equalised in the 98th minute. And then Thompson himself and the Finn Harps keeper McGinley were sent off in the 93rd minute, following a bit of an altercation between the pair of them. Bit of a decent enough point for both sides. Derry in fourth, Harps in seventh. I feel like Harps will take that. They're tipping away nicely, have the cup to look forward to as well. Whereas Derry, whether they're going to challenge for the top three, it kind of remains to be seen. I think they're obviously in the hunt for a European spot, so maybe they might see it as 2 points dropped in a way. But obviously they scored a late equaliser, so obviously a point's better than nothing.
Yeah, what a job Rory Higgins done since he came in. Like, they were much closer to the bottom end of the table before he came in. And with up to now fourth, can definitely push for a European spot. Especially if that fourth place gets a European spot as well, doesn't it?
If the FAI Cup winner isn't like Wexford or something.
Come in the top. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. Finn Harps, you kind of, if you're betting on it, you'd expect to be safe enough. Like, they had a savage run against Pats there last week as well.
Decent form, like.
Yeah, probably fair result overall. But if they're kind of going to really challenge for them European spots, they want to kind of be beating the likes of Finn Harps, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. Any thoughts on that one, Griff?
I didn't actually watch the match, but just for Derry, like, as I said, Socko, like, since Rory Higgins came in, like, seriously good job. I think out of their last five, they won 4. Like, just like a big testament. So see, at the start of the season, like, I think even a few of us were like seriously worried about them, like, in terms they could have been like, you know, in a position that Dundalk or Waterford are in right now. Like, but to be fair to them, they kind of pulled it out of the bag, and they're looking at potentially challenging for a European spot. Which, I mean, 10 games into the season, if you said that to a Derry fan, they laugh at you. Like, so, and then Finn Harps as well, they should be safe. Like, I mean, you'd imagine the way Dundalk are going on right now, they're not going to pick up a whole lot more points than Waterford below them as well. So, yeah, it should be okay.
Decent point for Finn Harps, definitely. But yeah, you have to be disappointed conceding a late goal. But yeah, overall, they'll be probably happy enough. They probably would have taken it before the game. Drogheda Bohemians was an interesting one, to be honest. Drogheda went 3-0 up at half-time. Mark Doyle, Joe Redmond and Adioma with the goals. Then early in the second half, Liam Burt actually scored from the halfway line. Incredible goal.
Ridiculous goal.
Yeah, insane. And Georgie Kelly scored a penalty late on as well, but it wasn't enough to get anything from the game. It's a big blow for Bohs, that one, isn't it? Yeah,
like, especially when Drogheda are like above us in the league, you know, like you'd imagine, you know, I don't know, we should be beating them really. Like, I mean, I know we've got 4 games in hand now, but like
4 games in hand,
like, even if you know, if we don't win tonight or anything, like, I don't know. It's just annoying, really. Like, the goal by Liam Burt, by the way, was unbelievable. Like, but it's like the third time we someone score from the halfway line this season. We were saying, like, earlier, like, Jesus Christ, like, it happens every fucking week in the League of Ireland, which is gas. Like, but yeah, it's kind of same sort of pros. Like, there's a lot of times where we're just inconsistent, like, pick up. You get on a good run of form, then just kind of drop off. Like, I'm not knocking Drogs, by the way. Like, fair play, they played well. Like, but yeah, it's a disappointing one. Left it very late as well. Georgie Kelly penalty. Like both the goals even we scored, they weren't like not great. Like, he's got to go from the halfway line. Like, not as in great, but like they weren't like worked goals. You know what I mean? Like, once from the halfway line, and just penalty. Like, so I don't know, it's a bit disappointing. Yeah.
Thoughts, Soccer?
Yeah, super win for Drogheda. They're kind of in and around there. That race for the kind of fourth spot could be looks like it'll be kind of tight enough, depending on Bohs or 23 played, Drogheda 27 played. 4 games in hand, like, and Bohs have 3 games in hand, against Derry, 2 against Sligo, Harps tonight, yeah. So tough way day.
On a Monday as well.
Super win for Drogheda. I think most of us had them kind of down the bottom half of the table at the start of the season with the predictions. But if you'd have said to any Derry fan before the game, would you take like middle of the table or kind of 5th or 4th? Like, they would have definitely taken that. So if they get a good few kind of surprising enough results like that towards now and the end of the season, like, they'll be in a really good position for next season.
Yeah, they'll probably end up 6th or something in the end, or something, which is really solid the campaign. Like, before we move on from this one, I just want to touch on a bit of Bohemians' kind of rumors, I suppose. It is believed that Ross Tierney may be close to agreeing a deal to join an SBL side at the end of the League of Ireland season. Obviously, will be out of contract. How big a blow would that be? Obviously, it's a massive, massive blow, and he's been so good this season. The stats have been unbelievable. That's such a blow. I think we might get some sort of a fee, maybe. Like, I think that's how it works with players that are under 23 or something. But even still, it'll be nowhere near his actual market value. It'd be a shame to lose him, wouldn't it, Griff?
Yeah, it's kind of inevitable. Like you say, every single year with Bohs, like, we're going to lose players. I was thinking, like, if we keep, like, manage to keep 2 out of the 3 of Tierney, Devoy, and then I put like Liam Burt and Ali Coote, like, I'm the same, like, then I'd be extremely happy, because every single year Bohs are going to lose players. It's just the way we are, really. We're basically a feeder club to bigger teams across the water, like, so yeah, listen, I won't knock it. Like, it's a massive opportunity. Like, if he goes over to Scotland, you can see, like, he's such a quality technical player. Like, he's been so good this season. He's really grown into his own. Stepped up. He's like one of the big players in that team. Like, so yeah, listen, I wouldn't knock it. It would be disappointing, but I think you were going to get onto as well. I'd probably say, like, Devoy looks like he's going to sign a new contract, which would be massive. Like, because like even one of the 2 of them,
I think Coote as well might sign one as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so you'd be happy out, really. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, if he does go over, all the best for him. Like, I have a feeling he will go over as well. He's running out of contract. He's playing his best football of his career. If he gets a move over to Scotland, realistically, he's going to take it. Like, so, probably is the end of his Bohs career, unfortunately.
Just looking there, 23 games this year, 4 goals, 12 assists, and scored for the Ireland under 21s against Australia there. Not so long ago, but just the bits I've seen of him this season, and even live, like, I've never seen a player just pick the ball up and leg it so confidently. Like, the amount of times I've seen him just get the ball, like, deep in his own half and just drive like 50 yards and find the pass. Really good eye in front of goal, really comfortable on the ball, and a great eye for a pass. So yeah, I say it's frustrating for a lot of Bohs fans, and Griff, as he said, come the end of the year, like, it's kind of inevitable that a few players will leave. But the way Bohs are kind of set up now, when we saw with the Matt Doherty transfer, it's really important that they get the contract right, and they usually do, whether it's like a 10% like sell-on clause, that if Ross Tierney kind of gets better and better and better and gets a big move in the next few years, like, it'll be really valuable to Bohs.
I don't think they could do it if he's out of contract, could they? Though I don't think they probably couldn't.
Oh, was he out of contract? Oh, sorry, I missed that bit.
I think so. Yeah. So they could do it maybe if the Bohs signs a 2-year deal or something like that. They could do it something like that maybe the following season or something like that. But I don't think maybe you can, but I don't know. Maybe instead of like because they have to do some sort of tribunal to organize a transfer fee, so maybe they might just take like a sell-on percentage or something instead. But yeah, I think in terms of just a quick one for you, it's kind of like a quick question. Out of what you've seen this season, I know they're quite different players as well, but who do you think whose ceiling is higher out of Devoy and Tierney in terms of potential? Would you say?
I'd go with Devoy personally. Like I just think the way he's so good on the ball. It's very close though. Like they've both been outstanding.
They're different as well.
Players. They're very different players. Like, but Devoy, like even when he was playing them, like in the Conference League games, like he's playing against like European competition. He was immense. Like he was, what's he like 19, 20? He's stepping up and like he was running the show like those games. Like, and there's so many games where he puts the team on his back and he's the man on the pitch. See, I'm not knocking Tierney. There's been games where Tierney obviously has stepped up, being a massive player. He's so good on the ball as well. Like he runs, like he reminds me of Emil Smith Rowe, just the way like it's like when he runs with the ball, it's almost like glued to his feet. Like he's got really good vision. He's just so good. But it would be tight, but I'd say Devoy just based on the fact like he was so good again in those Conference League games. I'd probably be leaning towards him, but yeah.
Because Tierney's good for a goal as well, isn't he? He pops up in good positions in the box. He kind of times his runs well. He's kind of like a Ram Doider type player as well. At times,
the space investigator. Yeah.
Soccer, would you agree with Griff that would you say Devoy has a like slightly higher ceiling in terms of potential, or would you disagree?
I wouldn't disagree, but I'd be it's very tight. I'd be slightly inclined to go with Tierney. Like even when I've been at Dalymount, seeing him kind of up close, he's an absolute warrior on the ball. Like he kind of the age he's at, and he is kind of smaller than a lot of players. He's rarely knocked off the ball, and he's not afraid of a hard challenge. Like I've seen him a few times, like try time wasting in the corner or kind of like shield players off, and he's really strong. And you get the type of feeling that like he'd run through a brick wall for Keith Long type of thing. And just the bits I've seen of him this season, like just driving with the ball 56 yards. Griff put it perfectly, like the ball sticks to his feet. Savage eye for a pass. Probably inclined to go with Tierney, but it's really tight. And you I don't know. You don't want to be like saying there is a limit for these players, because players can like go through good runs of form and bad runs of form. It's not an upward curve. It's not a straight curve. So probably Tierney.
Straight curve.
But I feel like whichever one you picked, like no one would have too many disagreements. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it is very tight.
It's so tight. Like when you talk about Bohs this year and like the young players and stuff, like they do come in tandem. Like you can't really mention one without mentioning the other, because they've had really good season. So
and the academy. Sorry.
I was just saying, if you lose a Tierney, there's like that for the Jamie Mullins, I think 16 coming through. There's always players coming back to back them up and coming through the ranks. So
the way Bohs have their academy at the moment, like with Kevin's and the great kind of work, the kind of setup they have now in DCU, we'll be sitting here. Well, we might not be, but like we'll be talking about players in 2 or 3 years' time, like the next Austin Devoy, the next Ross Tierney, coming up, because like we've seen the progress these top young players have made in the last year or two at Bohs, and we've seen Mullins too. Like they're not afraid to give young lads a chance. If they're good enough, they're old enough, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move on anyway. To Sligo Rovers, who picked up a really impressive 2-0 win over St. Pat's. Johnny Kenny scored a penalty and Ryan DeVries, both goals were in the first half that won the game for them. Major talking point following the match was the unpleasant scenes involving both sides at the end of the match as both teams left the pitch. Pull up a little screen grab there.
Nice.
But yeah,
you wouldn't think it's on RTE. You think it's on WWE. Like.
RTE, that's crazy. What a mad buzz. Like. But to first of all, tossing the result, is a really good win for Sligo. They're in third, Pats in second. Really good win for Sligo.
Yeah, I think it was their first win. I think their previous 5, and their title challenge kind of lost its way there for the last few weeks.
They had a really bad run.
Yeah, I think they were winless for 5. I think.
I think it was 7. Yeah, something
7. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah.
So the best they'd be hoping for, that they should be, you'd imagine, kind of depending on Bohs games in hand, kind of grand for a European spot, which would be a really good season for Liam Buckley. Hoping to progress further than they did this year. They were really disappointed, not getting past the first round of the Conference League this year, but like really like Stephen O'Donnell's side would be really disappointed with that. If they're to put any pressure on Rovers are 2 games in hand now as well, 3 points clear. They need, like, we're at the last third of the season, like you need to be getting them wins if you're going to put up a title challenge. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say more. Yeah, disappointing for Pats. I think they would have expected maybe to like at least get something out of it. Like Sligo, after obviously like having a pretty dire run of form these last few games, kind of dropping out of the title race, and then Pats, now they're 3 points off Rovers, and Rovers have 2 games in hand. Like it's going to be tough for them realistically to win. They might make a challenge, like if Rovers drop points again, but yeah, that's a game like you would say must win, but like it's pretty close to it really if they wanted to have any chance of seriously pushing Rovers now. So disappointing, yeah, and also like the scenes at the end, the old man getting absolutely creased, like
that was shocking, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
So
it was Ryan DeVries helped him up.
Ryan DeVries did, yeah. Was it just like an accident? Obviously an accident, like it was just kind of bumped into or something. Yeah. But crazy scenes and it's
was there any aftermath over? Like, was it over a decision or?
I don't really. I'd say there was just a few words exchanged, and Stephen O'Donnell probably got involved in some way, shape, or form. You'd imagine. But yeah, you don't like that's what you want to see, that kind of stuff. But like, it adds to the bit of a narrative, like.
Like it's like Arsenal versus United in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Bit of a rivalry between the sides, like challenging at the top. You don't mind to see it. Obviously, if there's a no-man getting pushed over, you don't want to see that. But at the same time,
fuck.
I think as far as over, I think he's absolutely fine. Anyway, he's helped up, and also he's all grand. Thank
prayers
God.
prayers up, just
prayers up. We'll move on to the Shamrock Rovers game. Obviously, they're competing with those 2 teams for the title. They beat Waterford 2-0. Back to business, really, for Shamrock Rovers. Had a little bit of a dodgy week or two, knocked out of Europe, knocked out of the Cup. I think they lost their first game back to Finn Harps as well in the league. But a second half double from the returning Danny Mandry, who's obviously suspended after the incident at the end of the Bohemians Cup game. That won it for them. They're 3 points clear, as we were saying just there, from Pats, and they have 2 games in hand. Not that the title's done, but is it looking a lot closer? Like it's a one hand on the trophy nearly.
Possibly, yeah. I think Stephen Bradley will be the first guy not to get carried away and take it game by game. But you'd imagine, like, if they win them 2 games, you're 9 points clear of Pats. Then it's only Pats that are really challenging. And the recent results, kind of Pats are getting, especially that loss versus Sligo. You could probably say it's one hand of the trophy. What's there kind of 8-9-ish games to go. If you're betting on it, you'd probably say Rovers.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughts, Griff? Is it more or less done?
Yeah, I mean, it's not more or less done. Like if Rovers drop a few more games, like they got like I think they have Sligo next, so like. That would be a big game. Like if Sligo could get something out of that, they could actually end up helping Pats as well. Like, So it's never done until it's done. But they are definitely they're in by far the best position. Like 3 points for 2 games in hand off Pats. Like and Pats have just lost against Sligo, so yeah, they're in the best position. There's no doubt about that. Like.
Yeah, it'll be a serious bottle job if they lost it from here, realistically. Like,
definitely,
absolutely. There was a lot of controversy around this game. Just saw a comment there saying Rob Harvey had a shocker. He's the referee that night. A lot of controversy following the match, obviously, because Waterford set up in like a 5 at the back. Mark Burkham, obviously, they've been well improved under him. They kept it tight until like 60 minutes was with the first goal going in. And did you see this at all? It was kind of I think it was the first goal when it was like the free kick and it was like a shot. At the edge of the box, and the player was like diving into it, and he like had his arm by his side, like a natural position or like that, not something really harsh, I thought, to be honest. But obviously the Watford players and manager were absolutely fuming after the game. Mark Burkham was critical of the referee. He accused him of having preconceived notions of his players. So the referee got big decisions wrong, and it cost Watford in the end. Despite the upturn in form under Burkham, actually, Watford only 1 point ahead of Dundalk with 2 extra games played, so they really still are in a battle, and every point is obviously vital down there at the moment. It's mad to think former Premier League player Greg Halford plays for Watford now. It's gas, isn't it? He's for regretting and stuff, I think.
But Burkham definitely get him in, like
yeah, using his contacts to get a few players in, but
no curfew.
No curfew.
Greg can come over. There's no curfew. Like.
No curfew.
Great club.
But Greg Halford put up a thread on Twitter. We'll have a quick look at now. He said, I have to word this very carefully so I don't get into trouble. I'm not having a go at the ref or the FAI, but when a ref doesn't give us blatant free kicks or throw-ins or anything like that, and we ask, how is that not ours? And the referee's reply is to Anthony Wordsworth, to send you on as well, you should put it on Twitter. That's the referee's reply, saying you should put it on Twitter. Refereeing to his wrongful sending off last month. This to me says the referees are coming to officiate our games with the intention to give us nothing, hoping that we say something wrong. So the FAI take action against us, I presume. But this can't keep happening. All the players heard him say it tonight. No doubt he's going to deny the allegations. So that says 11 players are liars, which defo isn't the case. We're fighting for our lives here. We're playing with one arm tied behind our backs.
Jesus.
Really, really powerful statement. Like we all know refs are human and gonna make mistakes. I can live with that, but everyone needs help. This is mad, but when a ref comes into a game with that attitude, we are doomed.
We are doomed.
And it's not fair to anyone. Hopefully, all the officials' mics are working and recording the whole game, so we will know the truth soon. Let's hope there was no technical difficulty with the equipment that doesn't get lost, and there is a fair reply in the coming days. Not holding my breath. Interesting statements, interesting thread on Twitter.
Very strong.
That's a week after Conan Byrne on his podcast. I think he next LOI referee on, and it just seems like every weekend this season there seems to be like a referee story. Half the games I've been lucky enough to be at this year, like either a manager is sent off, both managers are sent off, or like there's one or two players, and there's always your heart goes out to them sometimes, but like it seems just every weekend now there's a story about the referees, and does that come down to the standard of refereeing, the training they get? Yeah. Do players and managers just need to take a step back? It's hard to know.
Your man Greg Halford was tweeting out being like, because there was like a rumor going on Twitter about the referee being like, he used to be a Shamrock Rovers season ticket holder, and your man was tweeting about that and everything as well. So funny. Like, so funny. I caught a Byrne replied to, apparently he's more of like a Bohs fan, so if anything he'd be actually biased against Shamrock Rovers. So I think there's nothing in that. I think there's an air of like desperation and a bit of like come on, get it. Like, I don't know, I'm not saying the decisions are right, but like it seems like a little bit petty to be getting involved and saying, I used to be a Shamrock Rovers season ticket holder, making things up, like
clutching at straws, like.
Yeah, a little bit, like.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious though, to be fair. Like, I mean, like if the ref actually did say that, you should put it on Twitter. It's like, what an arsehole. Like, how is that not our free kick, ref? Put it on Twitter, mate. I don't want to hear it. Like, it's so funny. Like, to be fair,
league about it together.
The referees in Ireland, like in general, like they're not great. Like, let's be honest.
They're shocking, yeah.
Like, I'm not like, this is going off, United Churches Football League and then Senior League. The rest there aren't great either. So like,
referee, next game, just play fair.
Yeah, it's shocking. Like, that ref was actually fine, but anyway, I'm like ranting here. But the refs, there was the standard refereeing in this country it can be questionable at times, to be fair. So.
Absolutely. Just in terms of Waterford, in terms of the league table, they are obviously 8th at the moment. Dundalk are there in 9th behind them. Waterford 1 point ahead, 2 games in hand for Dundalk. It still looks like a little bit of a perilous position, doesn't it, for Waterford? Obviously, you can see that they are desperate for points, and you can kind of tell by their manager and their players that they are quite desperate for these. Obviously, going to be, but I'm saying like in terms of the desperation there, you can really sense it in how their interviews are coming across and stuff. Not looking good because you'd imagine Dundalk, with the quality they have, they should get points, but they're playing so bad. We'll get on to Dundalk's result in a minute, but do you think Waterford will be okay? Not hard to know.
It's hard to know. Like, I mean, Dundalk still have 2 games in hand on them, but yeah, the way Dundalk are playing, it's not great. Like, I don't know. They've gotten better. That's definitely, like that's 100% true. They have gotten better since the start of the season.
Yeah.
Like, it was them and Longford were almost glued to the bottom of the table. Like, it was between them two, but. Oh, I don't know. It's going to come down realistically, I think, to whether Dundalk can start picking up points. But like that doesn't look fucking likely right now. They just look dreadful. They've been so bad recently. Like, what's it? Waterford have 9 games left. Dundalk have 11 games left. It's a lot. Like there's still a lot of football to be played, but it's going to be
that.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's going to be either Waterford, Dundalk in that 9th place. Like.
It's crazy to think of Dundalk, isn't it?
Yeah, Jesus, Dundalk go down like my days. Like,
do you think 9th place out of Waterford and Dundalk? Do you think they'd beat the likes of a UCD or whoever it is that's due to come up?
It's it's hard to say.
UCD have a good side as well. UCD have like playing very good this season. Like, so
yeah, it's hard to say. Like we saw last year, like it was Longford Shells in the playoff, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And like you would have put your money on Shells, like the squad they had, but when it's pretty much a cup final, like one game, anything can happen. Like, so it's really, really hard to say. And I think form comes into a lot of that as well. If you have a team in the first division winning regularly, getting that second spot, as compared to the 9th place side in the Premier Division, on a really bad form and confidence low going into that game, like anything can happen. I think it's really hard to call. Waterford's fate will probably depend, you'd imagine, on Dundalk's next 2 games in hand, and when they play each other, I think there's definitely one, if not 2 games between them left between now and October. They're going to be absolutely massive, like, and I suppose that'll tell us a lot. I was trying to get us
photo behind the photo, like. Evil bastard.
Champagne footy.
Dude, that's
what a man. It's such a funny photo. Hair, like his hair.
Mop, like.
Oh, so funny. Speaking of Dundalk, we'll touch on them now. They they lost, of course, to Longford. Absolutely awful result for Dundalk. Things just get worse and worse for them, really, don't they? Aaron O'Driscoll scored the only goal of the game on the stroke at half time. Longford actually finished the game with 9 men. Dundalk finished with 10 men. Longford, of course, stayed 10th, obviously written off really at this stage. Dundalk stayed 9th.
Longford's second win in 26 games.
Crazy.
Outrageous.
Who was the other one again? They drew.
First game of the season was Waterford. I can't remember.
Something like that, maybe. Yeah.
It was the first game of the season, and they've drawn 8 and lost 17 since then. Ridiculous result for Dundalk. Like, we've seen so much kind of fan discontent on Twitter and stuff this year, and we had the protest with Giovanni and protests against Peak Six as well. And we saw there during the week the Dundalk Supporters Trust, I think they had a meeting with the chairman and club officials, and they want to do a lot of work, like do up Oriel Park, because for the amount of money that's come into the club like the last few years, like Oriel, I don't think there's been too much money, my personal opinion, put into Oriel Park, and just for fans coming back on match days, there's a lot of plans to just get the match going experience like much better, a lot better than it is now. So hopefully that'll go in the right direction, but that's off the pitch. On the pitch, pretty grim at the moment. Them 2 games in hand for Dundalk are going to be huge, and it's not a stretch to say they might be relegated this year, where 6 months ago you would have been laughed at if you'd have said that they were playing Arsenal like this time last year. And 2 clubs that might be relegated this year, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Brilliant.
Dreadful.
Absolutely shocking, for Dundalk. And I thought Vinny Perth kind of came in. I thought they'd kind of steady the ship a bit and get them to the end of the line, kind of not plain sailing, but kind of just get them over the line.
You didn't start off too badly now, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Obviously, Chris Shields leaving during the season, players like that. Obviously, we can touch on Gary Rogers now before the influence that was going to have Brian Gartland's injury. Yeah, you take the real like players who probably care about the club out of like a good few of them. Obviously, there are still players there playing that do, but a lot of them a lot of players kind of coming in from other areas and stuff that mightn't have the same affiliation with the club and don't really mind what happens to it as much maybe. Like so Wilfred Zahiba's getting so much money every week and it doesn't look like he's particularly arsed to what happens with the club and stuff like that. So yeah, it is a shame to see how far they've dropped. Like, and to imagine Dundalk and Cork challenging for the title 3-4 years ago, and then they could be playing in the first division next season. Like it's scary. It's very tough for any League of Ireland club because it shows it can happen to anybody in such a short amount of time.
Good luck, Cork too.
So yeah, mad anyway. Tonight's game kicks off in 5 minutes. Finn Harps against Bohs. How are you feeling for that one, lads? What are we thinking prediction wise?
Oh god, I don't know. It's hard to tell because obviously after the last game didn't play very well at all. Like, Harps decent result against Derry as well. 2-2. Harps not playing bad football this season. I don't know. I still want us to win, but tough away day. It's a tough away day.
Cold Monday night.
Yeah, cold Monday night in fucking Ballybuffet. Like, I'd say a draw, to be honest, which is probably a realistic result. Like, straight down the middle. I think both teams are going to be content with that. Like, so yeah.
Before we go 1-1 as well, like Bohs obviously with kind of much better squad on paper, but Finn Harps 4 wins and a draw in their last 5 games, like in really, really good form. I probably say 1-1 fair result.
Yeah, no, definitely. Tomorrow evening's game then as well, really important for both sides. Of course, Sligo Rovers obviously competing at the top end of the table, and as we mentioned, Dundalk, it's one of their games in hand, I believe, competing at the wrong end of the table. Massive fixture. How do we see that one going now?
Sligo win, sure.
Has to be Sligo, you know, in a kind of slightly better form than Dundalk at the moment. Dundalk can be so hit or miss at the moment, like much more miss than hit. But yeah, I'd probably go Sligo win. It's pretty grim state of affairs at Dundalk at the moment.
Yeah, I'd be the same as well. Like coming off a Pats win as well, and then Dundalk coming off a Longford loss. Like surely, like you'd be if I was a betting man, which I'm not. I'd say Sligo win.
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree, but you just never know with Dundalk because they can just turn up sometimes, can't they? I think they beat Rovers and stuff before, like earlier on in the season. They just turn up the odd time, so you just never know with them because they do have quality at the end of the day. But yeah, if you're kind of going off like XG and performance, if you're going off the stats, you probably have to go off slide with Sligo. Just about. Maybe I could see a draw there, to be honest, as well. But this weekend we do have the FAI Cup. It's very exciting. Quarterfinals coming up. I'll say you're very, very excited, Griff. Nice handy draw for your lot. Obviously you can't count your chickens before they hatch, but if you were to be given a bye the next round, you'd be more likely to be knocked out.
I'm not getting cocky or anything, but it's good as done. It's good as done, to be honest.
Seems to be much rotation, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say there'll still be a few
big hitters.
Yeah, a few key players, but I'd say, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised to see like Jamie Mullins start and a few of those kind of players, like, and why not as well? I mean, like you'd imagine that we should do a job on these comfortably enough. Like, I don't know, taking maybe 2-0, 3-0, like, it's going to come back to bite me in the arse. But yeah, really excited. This is the best chance that we've had to win a cup, a bit of silverware in so long, like so. Really, really buzzing for this. And I think if we actually did end up winning something, like even though it's been a kind of up and down season, like it would be massive. Like it'd be so good for the fans. Get us back to Europe as well next season. So that'd be brilliant. Yeah,
a top 4 finish for Bohs, cup win, and a really good showing in Europe as well. You can't ask for much more. Really,
exactly. Yeah, especially with losing like Danny Grant and stuff last year. Like
the whole front three. Really.
Exactly. Yeah. What more could you want? Like
exactly. Soccer, easy enough for a team win.
Yeah, definitely. You probably see a lot of rotation as well. After the disappointment of going out to POK, I think a lot of Bohs fans were really delighted to see their team win the cup. I think it's at least 9 years. I think since they last won the cup. I'm just trying to find the last non-league team to win the FAI Cup.
Oh Jesus!
So
if that ever happened, like
if you want to wait 10 minutes for me,
no, I don't know.
I really don't.
1975 home farm. There you go. Yeah. There you go. And hopefully, like looking ahead to the final, I think October, November, you'd hope for as full capacity in the Viva as possible. Because the attendances the last few years has just been rising year on year, like at 25,000, 26,000, 30,000, and when Rovers beat Dundalk in 2019, 33,000, like for an FAI Cup final. COVID kind of came in a really bad time, I think, for the league, and where things were just kind of going up and up and up in attendances and kind of coverage, and hopefully we can just get that back up to where it used to be, and hopefully savage crowd in for the final. Will it be Maynooth? Who knows?
Surely not. Like
imagine. Moving on to the holders of the competition and team we just talked about, obviously Dundalk playing Finn Harps. That's a tough game for them. Finn Harps, would they have, in terms of tonight's game, would they have one eye on this match, probably prioritising it nearly over the Bohemians game tonight? Maybe would it be their cup, like a cup run? It's like Dundalk definitely beatable for them. You never know who you could get in the next round. It could be a UCD or a Waterford or like a I don't know, somebody along those lines. So yeah, I think. For Finn Harps, they probably fancy their chances of being maybe an outside shout for the whole thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Jesus, would have got some money on them if you bet at the start of the season. Their last FAI Cup was 1973.
Historian here, Soccer.
They've been absolutely talking out of me. They beat Pats 3-1, and there was 14,000 at Dalymount Park to see it. So will they bridge a 45-year gap? But yeah, if you're grand process, if you were going to bet on it, you'd be inclined for Finn Harps when like the form they're in, like on 4 wins and drawn 5. Dundalk and Rag order at the moment.
Dundalk have bigger priorities, maybe. Yeah,
100%. It's a real good opportunity for Finn Harps to get into the semi-final, and they're right in the mix then if they get past Dundalk.
Yeah, no, definitely. Another kind of foregone conclusion. It's always not nice to say that, but in terms of this game, it's more or less done and dusted. Like St. Pat's play host to
foregone conclusion.
Bottom of the first division, Wexford, I believe they're still bottom. Yeah, like you can't really look too far past Pats in this one, really, unfortunately.
Yeah, you think they'd win fairly comfortably, like.
Just the winner kind of goes with Pats.
Yeah, I don't know, like it'd be a tough one. That'd be so good. I would love that so much. Like obviously Paddy supporting Pats as well. Like my younger brother would be massive. Yeah. So I would love a Pats versus Bohs final. But that's it. Savage. If Bohs get through and they have like Dundalk or Finn Harps, like I can just see us losing. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Pats. I mean, for this game, Pats should win this fairly comfortably. Like you'd imagine, they'd rotate a few players as well. Like.
Yeah, and soccer, when was the last time Pats won the FAI Cup?
2014, they beat Derry 2-0.
Derry, was it?
Yeah, I was trying to see if there was a... Which?
Christy Fagan probably playing then, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I was trying to find the last Pats Bohs final over here on that. So yeah, 100% Pats win.
Yeah.
You'd imagine, and kind of they were disappointed the last few games. They've kind of dropped their league challenge a lot. Maynooth Wexford final, 60,000 in the EV for that. But so a cup run is kind of great to get the fans kind of back on board after the disappointment of like not challenging the league, challenging for the league. So yeah, Pats all the way.
Yeah, no, for sure. UCD Waterford will be a good game. This could actually potentially be like the playoff to get into the league. This is actually interesting way of looking at it as well. Could be a very, very good game. UCD in good form. They're second in the first division, so they have kind of different priorities as well. outside of the cup, and Waterford, of course, have different priorities in terms of trying to stay in the division as well. So it'll be an interesting game. Both sides obviously see it as a great opportunity to get into the semi-final of a cup, of course, but are there kind of eyes looking elsewhere in terms of their priorities?
Yeah, possibly. I think it's really tight up there at the top of the first division. You've Treaty, Galway, Treaty on 37, Galway on 39, UCD on 39. But if there was one team to kind of chance it, I'd say UCD might go all out for it and try to beat Waterford. I think Waterford will have one eye on staying safe this year. Just going off the form, like UCD 4 wins and a draw in the last 5. It'd be a super game. It's high enough now. It'd be a super game. It's one that's hard to call.
Definitely, yeah. Griff, who do you think is going to pull off the win here?
Yeah, I think it could come down to whatever player, or like which team kind of takes it more seriously, really, in terms of rotating players if they both put on their strongest squad. Because I'd say like UCD aren't far away from Waterford's quality. I'd say Waterford are probably slightly the better team, just based on the fact they're in the Premier Division. Like they've got a few really good results this season, especially under Mark Bircham. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one, as you said. Like this could be a preview for that playoff later, or even if it's not UCD who are in that playoff, seeing the table there. Like there's a lot of teams like Galway and stuff which are really around that kind of same level. So seeing how Waterford get on in this game is gonna be very interesting. Like big preview as of what could come.
Yeah, good indicator of what's to come. Yeah, exactly. I think I could see UCD pulling this off. Actually, to be honest, I think they have that goal threat in Colin Whelan. Obviously, being looked at by Shamrock Rovers, kind of says everything you need to know. Scored bags of goals this season so far. They look good. They always play decent football. UCD as well. Maybe that might play into Waterford's hands a little bit in terms of maybe they might be able to break them down and stay compact and just kind of get through it, like and find that goal. And they obviously have a lot of quality players from being in that league above. Birkham said he is playing his strongest team in every cup game, which is interesting to know. And why not as well? In the quarterfinals of the cup, it's a good opportunity to see what happens. And they're not, even if they get to the same final, like just it's not a foregone conclusion if that Waterford would be an easy game for a Bohs or Pats or Dundalk, whatever. Yeah. It's not an easy game at all.
No, definitely not.
100%.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that one goes. That's probably the tie of the round, nearly. Just because it's kind of different layers to it. It's kind of interesting to see how that plays out. But we'll finish tonight's show on our segment that we do most weeks in terms of talking about Irish players abroad. We'll start off talking about, of course, the man we've touched on at the start of the show. We have to mention him here as well, Andrew Omobamidele. A weekend to remember from him and a couple of weeks to remember as well, obviously making his Premier League debut for Norwich. Obviously, they did lose 1-0 to Arsenal, but he didn't really put a foot wrong in the game, had a very good game, looked composed on the ball. He's quick, strong, such a good defender. Obviously, we saw it all for Ireland over the couple of games he played for us. So, yeah, fabulous 2 weeks for him.
Yeah, to come in... I think Darragh Shea went off half an hour in against Portugal. He did not put a foot wrong in that game, and I can't remember him putting a foot wrong against Serbia. Like so calm with the ball. I watched the game back, and there's literally like 5 or 6 times in the game he's just in the right place at the right time and just blocks the through ball or like heads it away, and so brave on the ball, comfortable on the ball. The size of him too, like he'd be a threat for corners beside Duffy and Egan, no doubt. 19 years of age, like
so
a lot of lads are saying, "Oh, Mobama deadly." So I'm gonna stick with that.
Dog shit.
Oh, Mobama deadly.
Please don't. Like,
that better not become a thing.
No, please not.
Sweet mother of Christ. Griff, thoughts on him? Did you watch the again?
Yeah, of course.
For sins.
Jesus Christ! Like when the goal went in as well, like it was one of the shittest goals ever. And Aubameyang, he's there like give me a break. Anyway, enough about him. Get the press talk about them. To be honest with you, he didn't put a foot wrong. Like he's in a back 4 as well. That's another thing to notice. Like it's not like he's playing in the back 5. Where he can be kind of sit back a little and not go under the radar a little bit more. Like he was getting was getting ran at like quite a lot. Like a lot of balls coming over the top, and he dealt with them very well. Didn't put a foot wrong. So yeah, it was, the way it's like against Serbia, it was unbelievable as well. I'm delighted the way he even came out, because it was towards the back end of last season. I'm not gonna lie, like barely have ever heard the guy, like never really heard of him, like, and then suddenly he plays 10 games on the trot for Norwich. Towards the back end of the season, he's lethal in every one, really. Like, so, kind of came out of nowhere, which is just really, really unbelievable. And hopefully, if another few kind of players like that come out the woodwork soon, would be absolutely brilliant. Like, because God knows we need them. Like, so
yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. And good luck to the guy, because Jesus, we'll need him for the next few years. So.
Definitely. No, it's a really exciting prospect. Like looks likes of Ozan Kabak on the bench for Norwich that he was starting ahead of, and hopefully he can keep it that way. There's no reason that he wouldn't start next week, I don't think, after that performance. So hopefully he can continue to play, which would be the Premier League centre back. Even at Norwich, obviously they're not the best of teams, but I think it'd be such a good experience for him, and definitely be very, very useful for us in terms of our qualifying campaign for the next Euros. Obviously, Adam Ida came off the bench in that game as well, which is good to see. He needs to be playing a lot more regularly. So hopefully we can see him maybe start a couple of games in the next few weeks as well, which maybe might be a little bit of a stretch, but hopefully is the case. A player that I'm so excited about, lads, and I'm sure you're feeling the same, is 16-year-old Evan Ferguson. On the back of making his under-21 Irish debut, he scored again for Brighton under 23s, 4 goals in his last 4 games for them. Lots of Brighton fans actually saying on Twitter and stuff that he isn't actually too far away from possibly a Premier League appearance. He did it come on off the bench in an EFL game last month, I believe. Really, really exciting player in a number 9 position that we're crying out for a goal scorer in. If he's not too far away from the Brighton team, he must be too far away from the Ireland team.
Jesus Christ.
The size
one. I was just going to say, man, you've seen a photo of him. Even when he was playing against Chelsea when he was 14, you're looking at me like, Jesus Christ, that's a big boy. Like, and you're looking at him now, like he's 16, and Jesus, if you brought that fella home to your parents as a 22-year-old, you'd be like, yeah, this fella's definitely 23. Like, he's fucking huge. Like, but yeah, like all the Brighton fans saying, like he's not too far from being. And I think if he played, like he could be. I think James Vaughan is the youngest ever player in the Premier League.
15,
but it's like he's around 15, that. He's like 15, 16. Like, get Soccer to put it up there. But I think if he comes, like he'll be their youngest ever player in the Premier League, and he's not far off it. Like the guy's under 23s. Bossing it, like, and shout out to fucking Andrew Moran as well, who looks class for them. Like, he's only 17, so yeah, Brighton doing real good things. So yeah,
you'd hope it's not like a case of it kind of gets pushed a bit too soon, maybe in terms of it might be burnt out by 22 or something. You know what I mean? Like that can kind of happen with some players in terms of injuries and stuff as well. And so hopefully he is managed the right way, and you don't want to put too much pressure on him as well, because he's hard to, like, he is 16. Like, it's crazy to think that's so young. Like I was thinking about him when he was playing, came off the bench against Derry for Bohs in the league game at 14, and I was thinking, like, that's literally a child. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. Like, that's insane. But then you see him, obviously, like, oh, he actually is like physically ready. Like, like even mentally, you feel like that's wrong nearly. Like in a men's dressing room and stuff at 14, it felt crazy. Like,
there's a few people giving out after the Chelsea game. I was lucky enough to be there as well. I saw him come on, and someone said he was 14. I was like, he's not 14. Like, outrageous.
14 is insane.
It's ridiculous.
Doing a junior sort. But yeah, those few goals he scored the last kind of week or two, like super finishes for Brighton. So yeah, you'd like to see him. The game time is the most important thing, and Ross made a very good point. You don't want to see him too rushed too soon. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on the next while.
Yeah, definitely.
Just check there as well. It's Harvey Elliott is the youngest ever player. He was 16 in 30 days. Yeah, for Fulham.
Wasn't it? Oh yeah, for Fulham. Yeah, for Liverpool. A player that I'm hoping to see in the next Ireland squad, and surely he will be, Anthony Scully. 2 goals and 3 assists in one game for Lincoln at the weekend in League One. I think it's 9 goals in his last 9 games. He looks such a talented player. On the left-hand side, he's playing for Lincoln, cutting in. He's like bending him into the top corner. He's looking like a smashing option. In terms of the options we have kind of going forward at the moment, looking at like Ronan Curtis, I think maybe Anthony Scully's definitely got himself ahead of Ronan Curtis in the pecking order. Like,
yeah, Marcus Harness as well.
Yeah.
Those kind of players, like, but yeah, definitely get him in the squad.
Morgan nearly as well. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like the list goes on. Like and even like Lincoln fans saying on Twitter, like he was like, oh, like the goal where he came in, cut inside, and hit it like top right corner, class goal. And they were all the Lincoln fans saying that's trademark Scully. Like Jesus, if that's trademark him, we need something like that in the squad. Just an injection of pace, creativity, like all over that. Like we're not spoiled for choice at the moment, and he looks like he's he could be potentially going up to the championship. He keeps playing at this level. Do you know what I mean? So definitely bleed him into the squad early, like 100%.
Yeah, good age as well, 23, 24. Can play across the front three, I think, as well. Yeah, he looks like a player.
Actually, just a bit off topic. Have you ever seen the video of him when he was he's at West Ham and he's like, "Hello, I'm Anthony Scully and I'll play for West Ham." And then there's a video of him at Link and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Anthony Scully. Oh, yeah." That's so as soon as he's Irish now, like
that's funny, brilliant. That's so funny. Soccer, would he be in the next Ireland squad for you?
If he keeps up his form between now and October or even now in November, 100%. Stephen Kenny has always said like the door is always open and like no one is off limits, and we saw the likes of lots of players getting their first call-ups, but like even like Jay McGrath from Scotland, Scales, Mandry from Ireland, and there's no reason why Scully can't be in the mix as well. I think it tells you a lot that like Ronan Curtis didn't even get a minute these last 3 games. So based on form, you definitely have him in over the likes of Curtis and maybe Shane Long and a few, and looking towards the future. In the next qualifying campaign or 2, you'd have all them types of players like Long, Jimmy Collins, a few more not in the mix anymore, and the likes of Scully can come in then. So yeah, the more options the better, because as you said, we're crying out for them.
Yeah, speaking of attacking options as well, it's great to see Michael Obafemi come off the bench for Swansea for his debut for them. He came on for 15 minutes in the final part of the game. Hopefully he can get up to speed as soon as possible and be in contention for the next Ireland squad. It was kind of at the start, he kind of got off to a rocky start with Stephen Kenny, kind of on a personal level. Jamboree was like, he put up a tweet or something like saying something about being left out of the squad. Yeah, interesting or something like that. Like it wasn't a great reaction to being left out when it was in the under 21s a little bit. Had his injury problems at Southampton, wasn't really getting into the side there. So it was good that he moved to Swansea. 1.5 million as well. Like he's definitely a really hot prospect. And if he can get going in the championship, definitely in the squad, like 100%.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good player. Like he showed bits at Southampton. Like obviously the game time wasn't really coming under Hasenhüttl towards the end with injuries and stuff like that. And he was meant to go out to Swansea back in January, I think. So it was a bit of a shame that his career is being put on stall. But listen, he starts playing regularly. Like you can see, like even when he's playing for the under 21s, he's quick, he's strong. Like he's got a goal in him as well. So listen, get him in. If he starts playing games regularly for Swansea, there's no reason why he shouldn't be getting into the squad. Like he's clearly a talented lad. Like so yeah, hopefully he can kick on now, get some real regular game time,
Yeah, look at the likes of maybe a James Collins, Shane Longs, your players for the middle. Like it's like Michael Obafemi is a different option to the likes of them. He's kind of even off the bench as well. Jimmy came off the bench for Southampton a few times, scored big games against Chelsea at Old Trafford as well. Yeah, scored some big goals, and looks like a really I think he has a lot of ability and so much like potential, and hopefully he kind of realizes that over with this move to Swansea, and hopefully it's the best place for him to get going. Socko, how do you think that Swansea move is going to go?
Yeah, hopefully well, like Ron Manning there as well. Obviously, we kind of haven't seen too much from since like that Chelsea game and then equalising against United. As you said, got off to a rocky start with Stephen Kenny. But as we've said before, the more options, the better. And Stephen Kenny, I think the few weeks before this international window, he was traveling all across England. I think it was the Sun or something had him. I think he went like 15 or 20 games in like a month period. So he's eyes everywhere, and he'll be keeping tracks on all these players and making the decision. And even if he doesn't get in October, there's still November, and then the Nations League early next year. Fresh start for a lot of players. So depressing. So depressing. No qualifying games next year at all. Like, it's so depressing.
That's what there was for some reason. Yeah.
No. So hopefully, well, as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. But hopefully, you like to see the likes of Obafemi to just get game time number one and just start knocking in goals number two. And if that starts happening, we'll be laughing.
Yeah, no, for sure. The final player we'll touch on, lads, has to be, you're talking about the previous talking about the youngest ever Premier League player. Now we're moving on to the youngest ever League of Ireland player, Kevin Zeffy, from Shamrock Rovers to Inter Milan. On his Inter Milan under 17 debut, he scored twice and got 3 assists. Not a bad start to life in Italy.
Bad. Yeah, not bad. He looks like a real quality player. Like, I think they beat the team, like they were playing like 7-0, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Jesus. Hopefully he's not one as well. I think he's got like a bit of, he's Albanian as well, and he's like Irish Albanian stuff. So Jesus, hopefully he's not one of those players in the future which just like completely bails on us. But
can he play for anybody else? I don't think so. Can he now?
Jesus, I hope not. Hopefully not England or someone like them. We're really screwed. Like, he looks like a really, really good player. Sure, he was the youngest ever goal scorer. He scored in the first division. He's like 14, which is just mental crazy. Again. Like, really, really good player. So hopefully it works out for him over there.
Yeah, exciting one, Saka.
Yeah, 100%. Any clips I've seen of him, he looks really, really comfortable on the ball and like moving to AC Milan. For a lad of his age, Inter Milan. Reminds me I was watching Brian Kerr last week after the side note after the Azerbaijan game, and he kept calling Azerbaijan Moldova. He was like, we have to be beating the types of Moldova, and he said it like 3 times. And Damien Delaney was like, it's Azerbaijan. Yeah, of course. So funny. Hopefully he can kick on and be an option for the under 21s not so long, and then after that the seniors. And I just have an image of Stephen Kenny just bring him on the last 5, cap him, and that's him done. No more Albania talk. So yeah, you wish him all the best in the start he's made. What did you say? 2 goals, 3 assists, like savage. So
you'd imagine he grew up in Dublin. They grew up in Dublin and all, playing for Shamrock Rovers, playing for the Ireland underage system. Like, surely, like it's
hopefully,
like, because obviously Declan Rice and Jack Grealish was a case of they grew up in English academies and stuff like that. Where Steffi's obviously from an Irish academy, but then again, it's you can't be too sure ever really.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything just yet. Like, we'll see.
Yeah. Come on, Kevin.
Get him in the squad now. Just get him in the squad now.
Cap him. But yeah, I think that more or less brings an end to tonight's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you did enjoy, please do drop a like on it down below and make sure to subscribe. Soccer and Griff, an absolute pleasure as always.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, lad.
Nice one, gents. We'll be back next week, same time. We'll see you then. Plenty of stuff coming throughout the week, I imagine as well. But yeah, nice one, lads.